Wherever you are right now, ground down together with me. That means that we become aware of where the soles of our feet are and all those parts of our body that are touching a surface beneath us, wherever that is right now. Take a couple of really deep breaths, full breaths, as my beautiful friends love to say, full belly breaths, and just notice those parts of your body that are touching that surface beneath you. And as you do so, notice how you can start breathing into those parts of your body. That means that you are anchoring down into this precious moment. And in this precious moment, you are now choosing to be present, fully present. And I have finally now found the right button. Here I am. So I'm going to spotlight myself. So you see me in all my glory. And we can just take in this precious moment of gathering and for a second imagine that we're some beautiful place in nature. And we could literally hold hands. So, regardless of where you are, just imagine that we can do that right now. I want you to know that the Goddess Circle is a safe place. Whatever happens in this Goddess Circle stays in this Goddess Circle. And today you're going to just hear me presenting what I believe is not only maybe the missing link, a key, it's something valuable that's going to help us all find more peace and more truth and more integrity in our own lives. So I chose the topic of how to navigate difficult conversations with grace for many reasons. Reason number one is that right now on this planet, there's so much happening where these conversations are such opportunities for us to build bridges with each other so we can create more peace on this planet. And in this presentation today, I want to show you how we can all together increase, improve, up-level, amplify the quality of our own lives by looking at the quality of our relationships. So you can now see this presentation that I want to now go back to. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm clicking around here. Okay, here we go. Okay. The Golden Goddess Circle is a transformative community of conscious women who are dedicated to living in alignment with our highest intelligence. I call that intuition. It's our authentic power. It's who we really are. We're also dedicated to that big, lofty goal of creating financial freedom. And we're into promoting peace within us and around us. I'm the daughter of a physicist. So the main question that my dad inspired me to always ask is why? And I think if I look at the course of my life, I can see that this search for why is this happening? How is this all connected? Why is what is happening in my life somehow connected to this that I am transmitting? How does it all make sense? Brought me to this chart that I'm showing you now, which as the daughter of a physicist makes sense. I'm sure you have all heard often the word or the saying, everything is energy, right? And this energy that we can agree on that just is, you can measure, and you can measure this energy with many different things, right? We can measure it with fancy tools that we have in laboratories. We can measure it by touching something electric where we'll immediately feel some shock. And then we have people like Dr. David Hawkins, the author of that amazing book, Power versus Force, who set on a life's mission of measuring the frequencies on Earth. And in his book, he explains a lot of amazing stuff. And I'm going to show you different ways, visual representations of this scale of human consciousness that he came up with. And I like this kind of funnel that we are seeing in this graph here, because it shows, if you look right at the bottom, so if it's an inverted pyramid, we're looking at that red part at the bottom, we are seeing those are the lowest frequencies that we as humans can be aware of. And there's one thing that every single human being is aware of, sometimes more and sometimes less, depending on how connected we are to that. Those are our emotions, because our emotions are just energy inside of in our body that is moving around. It's energy moving through our body. That's why it's called emotions, right? And these emotions are true to every single human being. Every human knows the emotion, if you go to the bottom, of shame. It's a real sucky emotion, feeling ashamed of yourself because you believe that you're a bad person. Not fun. If we go a little bit up, we have guilt. Also not fun. Guilt is when we believe that we've done something wrong. Move up a little more, then we have grief. Also, not a pleasant emotion, not one that we would consciously say yes to a lot, but yet often a lot of us are in grief. Go up a bit more and you'll find fear. Move up a little more and you'll find anger. And then look at what's happening on this planet. If I look at my life's path, there was a moment when I moved to America from Europe, and I was immersed in this totally alien culture. And there was one thing that I noticed there, and that was obesity, right? Every third American was obese. And this is 15 years ago. Every fifth child was obese. And that really hit me. And that was the reason why in that time I created Take Your Fat Away. That's where I went into yoga, because I wanted to make sense of that. So if we look at the American culture, America as a nation, it's a very big nation, and it's like a mirror to, the amplified version of something that's happening on Earth. So there was a lot of grief. There was a lot of fear. That's where panic attacks started becoming almost fashionable in America. So we went from having an unhealthy nation to a very sick nation to a very unhappy nation. And that's where I started writing How to Use Your Intuition to Change Your Life. Because I say, if you're not connected to your intuition, your highest intelligence, it's going to be really hard to be joyful, right? So we often go into that grief, that depression, because we don't know anymore what makes me truly happy. So going into intuition, that was the same time that the happiness index was published. And that was for the first time showing that in the US citizens were less happy than the year before. So look at the graph. We've gone from grief and fear, and then up atop comes anger. Look at what's happening in the planet right now. We have a lot of angry people. We have war going on. So we are moving up the spectrum of human consciousness. We're moving up the spiral, but we now really have an important choice to make. And that's where I'd love you to look a little closer on this chart. You see in the red spectrum, we have those unpleasant feelings of shame, guilt, apathy, grief. We move a little up, and that's where also when we're on a journey of transformation, we will want to move out of that feeling, oh my God, I'm hopeless, nothing's going to change, to, oh my God, but what if nothing changes, to the desire to, oh fuck, I need to change something. Then we automatically move into those phases of anger where we can say, and I don't know, we'll blame the economy, we'll blame our partners, we'll blame all kinds of things for the process that we're actually going through. Look at the planet again, happening on the planet. Now we can have that choice, and that's where we're moving into that yellow part. Are we going to let our pride, are we going to let our ego hold us back from actually moving through this uncomfortable phase and find the courage to look at things new, to go into neutrality, to be able to also look at my own environment, but also the global environment with a more neutral, different point of view, and the willingness to say, okay, if this is happening on the planet, what can I influence? What can I change? Well, truth is, the only thing that you can change is you yourself. The only influence, the only thing I can really control is what am I doing with the energy that's emotion in my body all the time? Isn't that true? So I want to say that in this whole journey that we're all on, whether it's planetary or every single one of us, we're going from that ego self, that little self that is so attached often to things, to relationships, to stuff that makes us feel safe, right? Also, all the assets that we like, all the shiny objects, right? We need to integrate our emotional, rational self. And sometimes, especially as women, we're often told, oh, don't be so emotional, be more rational. Well, it belongs together. Your emotions are true. What you are feeling in that moment is your emotional reality. That is just what you're feeling. Does it always make sense? No, because especially in moments of conflict, let's just say I don't know, in some situations, somebody says something really mean. And that thing that they're saying hits you. They'd like say, I don't know, you're stupid, you're old, you're fat, I don't know, you're just not okay. If that goes in resonance with you and you feel small, you'll have those emotions coming up. Like, I don't know, you might feel sad, you might feel frustrated, you might feel angry. Now, your real job or our old job is, how do I deal with those emotions? How do I use that energy that's coming up anyway and make it make sense by, that's the next level, connecting to my higher self, being able to, I don't know, step out of the glass house and look at the situation from a more neutral point of view and say, okay, maybe this thing that's happening right now, maybe this conflict that I'm feeling, maybe this discomfort that I'm feeling actually means I'm growing. It actually means that I'm about to learn something. So what could the blessing be? We'll ask better questions, won't we? Then we're moving into that zone of the higher self where we notice that, there's an inner light within us. There's a sense of worthiness. There's a sense of purpose. And once we get into the sense of purpose, every single one of us is going to ask, why am I here? What's the mission in life? What's how to make sense of the bigger thing? And that's we move into that universal, planetary, galactic self that I can even say, I'm not only a citizen of this earth, I'm actually a citizen of this universe because I acknowledge, I don't know, there may be more planets out there, maybe there are more beings out there, there are more connections to be made. So I'm saying the quality of our lives is determined by the quality of our relationships. And I know this for truth. I've been working with people now for 30 years, with rich people, with poor people. And one thing I noticed is that you can have a full bank account, you can have all the shiny objects, you can have, I don't know, a great job, you've got money rolling in and out. But if your relationship to yourself, to the people in your life that matter, your loved ones, your kids, your family, your friends, when they're not working well, we'll usually feel disconnected. We'll usually not be part of a community. And that's the reason why right now we're having this spike of loneliness. Did you know that loneliness is the number one killer right now in a time of hyper-connectedness where we could, if we wanted to, we could reach out. We could have the courage to make that invitation to be in a relationship. And if you look at those relationships, every single one of them is a mirror. It's an opportunity. And that opportunity, I love saying, is to love more, to learn, and to laugh more. So if you're into that, then stay tuned and let us walk through what I'm calling the 12 petals of this sacred relationship. Because we have the relationship to ourselves, right? That's a big one. We have to not only feel worthy of the love that we want to receive and give, we have to have that authenticity to ourselves, that honesty, that ability to look in the mirror and say, I really love and appreciate myself. That's a big thing. Then we have the romantic or intimate relationships, whether they're male or female, doesn't really matter. But those that we share real intimacy with. And what does intimacy mean? Intimacy means into me, you see. And we all know, don't we, that the intimate relationships can often be the most tricky ones. At least they always were for me. And I am really excited to share everything that I have learned I've been married twice, once for 17 years, the next time for 12 years. Um, I've learned so much from those relationships. I've learned so much about communication, about the values that are important when we're establishing a relationship, the agreements that we need to make that are helpful and useful to make right at the beginning, the red flags, the green flags, how to deal with interesting brain structures or operational systems from narcissism to, I don't know, psychopaths. They're all out there. And we need to learn things like attachments. You know, what is a safe attachment? What's an insecure attachment? What's an avoidant attachment? What's a dysregulated attachment? Because the more we know about just how us humans work, how we function, what we need, because we all need the same things, right? All humans have the same basic human needs. The question is, how can I communicate these needs to another? How can I feel understood and understand the other? That's where it gets interesting. In the next section, we have the family. And the family, I'm talking of the biological family now, for one. Then we have also chosen families. It's also interesting concepts. Then we have bonus families. I have, let me count, latest count around 6, 7 step or bonus children that I helped raise, and I learned a lot from them. That's a big part of my Joyful Kids program is, applying everything that I know from working with children, because family life is so much easier when the children are happy and when mom is happy. And we're all sisters here. So happy mom is happy kids and happy husband usually. How do we make families, especially patchwork families, these new forms of family, how do we make that work? And then let's not even get started on spirit family and soul family and I don't know, intergalactic families. Then next section, we have friends. I think friends, I can definitely speak for myself that thanks to my friends and my incredible network of awesome souls that I have been able to not only gather around myself, but also hold in the best sense, keep, grow with, have always been my biggest support network, especially my sisters. And I know that they'll say the same. We have been able to really venture through the most astonishing experiences and come out stronger every time. And it's an art because it's about also navigating those conversations with friends and being honest and authentic with them and having values in friendships of, what is this friendship about? Where are we going with this? Having useful conversations, not just pity parties. Then we have nature. I read an interesting, fascinating, actually, anthropological study. Can't remember the guy's name right now. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, the conclusion of this study was that the moment humanity lost connection with nature, in the sense of working with nature rather than making nature your slave, right? Making nature work for you, the moment we reverse that and start being, for instance, nomads and, moving with the rhythms of nature and adapting to nature and working with nature, that was also the moment where we basically lost connection to ourselves. Because if we are not able to have empathy for that mother, that planet that is hosting us, that is feeding us, that is giving us everything we need, just because we're incapable of sharing, that's maybe one of my suggestions, that moment, we also lost the ability to have empathy for ourselves and compassion. So I loved reading that study and it made a lot of sense to me. And I'm looking forward to looking into that topic too. So every one of these topics that I'm talking about now is a month. So we are devoting a topic per month to really go deep, and I'll share how we do that in a second. Next point, big one, is community. I noticed when I moved to America and I lived there for 12 years, um, that it took a lot of conscious effort to build community. And I was so lucky to live in Asheville, North Carolina, where the sense of community was very strong and very alive. So there was a lot of, roots movements. There was so much farm to table, organic restaurants, all people really helping together, working together. And that showed in when Hurricane, I don't know, whatever hit, and Asheville was destroyed. I cried. And it was also a day of confirmation for me because when I moved to Asheville, I moved there because intuition told me to do so. And I spent a lot in that house getting it ready for a community that I wanted to build for myself. And I spent a lot of money investing into hurricane-proof roofs and windows and all stuff, where at that time, the people in the community literally around me said, she's crazy. This woman, she's a crazy hippie. She is now doing all these things. We've never had a hurricane in Asheville, right? Well, fast forward 13 years later, I was, thank goodness, safe, and I had, given that property on to a beautiful cause. The hurricane hit, and Asheville was wiped. And the house in Asheville, the sanctuary, as I called it, is still standing. And it was a sanctuary to so many people in that storm, in that crisis. So not only following your intuition really pays off, but also learning how to build a community around yourself, and that's online and in person, that supports you. Because truth is, we're going through very shaky times, and those that thrive in a crisis are those who are most resilient and have the best and strongest community around them. Next, home. Oof, talk forever about home. What I've learned, especially also with my feng shui master and mistress, Andrea Rose, about feng shui and how to really amplify the energies in a home. I don't know, from removing toxins to playing with the energies in a home, doing declutterings, learning how to bless your home, working with modern energy medicine. There's so much that we can and should do to make sure that that place that we are using as a nest, a place to recover and to recharge is most beneficial to us. And there's a lot I can share there. Next one, body. Yeah, I think sleep your fat away. Also know that I also am an officially trained beautician. I spent a lot of time studying the skin, the body, all kinds of body work from massage techniques to tweener. I used to be, and I think I always will be, an educational junkie. I love learning. So biohacking, all my thing. Why do I do ice baths? Why are so many simple things out there, from nutrition over exercise, things that we can do to help our bodies thrive? And then there's a huge part of the body which is hugely mental. How do we see ourselves? Are we able to fall in love with our bodies? Yeah, looking forward to that month a lot. Big one, the source. So that's spirit, God, whatever you want to call it. You might or might not know that I'm a trained channeler. Never chose at the beginning to do that or be that, but it happened because I dove deep into hypnosis. I really wanted to learn how to relax the brain, mainly mine, because I used to struggle with insomnia. So by studying hypnosis and doing the Dolores Cannon training for quantum hypnosis, I learned not only to relax my brain at will, which I can tell you is very helpful, but also how to consciously connect with, I'll call it 5D, with other sources of information. And there's a lot that I have to say about that, especially about doing so consciously and safely so that you stay sane. There's a lot of weird stuff going out there, where I love teaching people how to not only protect themselves, but how to stay true to themselves and how to use that information from 5D for the highest good. Yeah. Next, money. Woo, hot topic. Money is also just energy. And money is so often such a beautiful reflection of our connection to abundance. We all need some form of money or whatever, currency that might be. There needs to be some form of exchange. And I've learned so much about my own journey about falling in love with money and making money work for me and making money a joyful affair, rather than one that instills worry. And in all of these topics that we're talking about, I am so blessed to have a lot of experts and co-host sisters at my hand who we will bring in to talk about these things. Because we're meeting twice a month per topic, we're always going to do first a deep dive, really learning about the topic. And then we go through different activations until we go into the second part where we really integrate it. Because I'm a brain junkie in the sense that I love finding different ways to teach myself and others things in a joyful way. So we'll be working with hypnosis, we'll be working with NLP. We'll also, that's the next block, be talking about sexuality. You might or might not know that I have been studying this topic of what I called sacred sexuality for decades, more behind the closed door because there's still so much stigma about it and a lot of stuff that I don't want to deal with, that I'm looking forward to being able to share what I have learned about working with sexual energy, which is the creative energy. We all have that, right? How to do that in a safe and powerful way, in a safe circle. And that's why these all are things that I look forward to saying things about that I haven't shared. So then the next, and in this thing, the last one is vision. We all need to have a vision in life. Not only does our vision direct where we're going to move in life, but we all need a mission, a bigger plan of why we're here. There, I'm going to help all of us get clearer on that vision, get clearer on that mission we all love finding and, crafting for ourselves, how to also bring that vision to the world, how to network with each other, how to together create a network of real doers. This circle is not good for you or not ideal for you if you're not going to show up, if this is not important to you, if you're like, if this is going to be the next, I don't know, 500th online course that you're just going to, I don't know, purchase and then let it rest, then please don't come because it's a waste of your time. This is really a circle where we will really get to know each other, because that's what I love most about relationship. In every single relationship, we go through this cycle, whether it's an intimate relationship or I don't know, one with God. We have moments when we're connected. If this is an intimate relationship, it's make it practical, a moment when we're sitting opposite each other, we're talking, looking into each other's eyes, we're one, we're like, yes, connected, right? Then there'll be a moment of disconnection. We might have to go to the bathroom. We might need to leave where we need to go somewhere else. There'll be a disconnection. And then we'll want to, if this is an intimate relationship, reconnect. And if we understand that these three phases of relationship are natural, need to happen to keep the ball moving, to keep the energy flowing, then we can also make the decision to make each one of these phases pleasurable. So often when I coach people, especially with an insecure attachment, people who are very needy, who maybe went through trauma, they have an easy time connecting, right? That's when I feel safe. I have the person with me. I can touch them. I can look at them. That feels safe, right? But when that person goes, and I don't know, even sometimes goes to another room, I feel a little anxious, right? And I'm wanting to reconnect. They then become like these little puppies running after that seemingly only thing that will soothe them, help them back into connection. Well, this happens also to ourselves. I'm sure you'll notice times throughout the day when you are connected to yourself, where you know who you are, you're in your power, you feel confident, you're calm. And then something happens and I don't know, someone says something, or I don't know, you stub your toe and oof, you have all these emotions, you're briefly disconnected from that authentic self. Well, then you're going to self-regulate. If you're a healthy person, you'll say, okay, let's take a couple of breaths, whew, get back into myself, and on we go. And each part of that is a choice. And that's something that we can learn. And when we do that in relationship, it's much easier. So I promised you 2 tools. Tool number 1. Now, when you use these tools, you can use them in situations where this discomfort, this conflict, this conversation is jumped on you. So it just happens. And you can use them when you can plan ahead. So when you know, oh, I have to have this uncomfortable conversation, how am I going to do it? Rule number 1, tool number 1, the thing that always is a good idea is do the golden pause. Just stop. Let's say, make it practical, you're in some supermarket and some crazy person, you don't even know this person, comes up to you and starts shouting at you, abusing you, saying really terrible things. Stop. Take a breath. That is always going to be helpful. Just think of those times when in a conflict, we often say things because we're so angry. We maybe even, I don't know, do things like, I don't know, hit someone, do make a very terrible choice because we didn't. Just stop and take that one full breath. When we're taking that one full breath, our only job is to notice the emotions. Notice what's going on right now. Am I angry? Am I sad? Am I frustrated? What's going on right now? Just notice and notice what's happening in your body. You know, everyone's different. Some people are very kinesthetic. Some people are very tuned into their body. Notice are parts of your body getting tense? Your shoulders hunching up? Are you curling in? Are you kind of preparing for bracing for impact? What's happening? And just notice it without judging. And then you have a choice to make. You can choose to remain silent. And honestly, sisters, most of the times that's a very good choice. Just say nothing. Or you can choose words that bring clarity or kindness. Now, what are the benefits of the golden pause? The benefits are that you're reducing your reactivity. Remember, you want to learn how to respond rather than react, because when you're reacting, you're just being like an animal, right? Someone tickles you or there, and you're going to react. So it reduces that and it trains your animal in tense moments to be able to do what? Take a breath. Because when you're taking that breath, you're bringing oxygen into your system. You're bringing back a sense of calm. You're noticing where you are. You're being present. And it strengthens the connection. Just think about it. If you're on the other side, if you're just having a crisis, I don't know, something terrible has happened and you're just beside yourself with emotion, what helps? Doesn't it help if you have someone there who's just there and doesn't judge you, doesn't say anything, and just takes a breath? This is a tip for all parents. If you're dealing with a kid that's having a tantrum, just look at them and breathe with them. Just take that real full breath. And I know sounds so simplistic, and it is, but it works. So practice this before you have hard conversations, and even visualize it in your mind. Say, okay, imagine you're going to go in there, you're going to sit down with that person, and you're going to take this breath. And then you already know, maybe if you're dealing with a reactive person, you know they're going to, I don't know, start shouting, they're going to do da, 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 and you're just going to see yourself take that breath. That's tool number 1. If you just walk away from this webinar just doing that, I promise you things are going to change, because you're doing what? You're taking control. You're taking control of the situation by taking control of yourself, by staying calm, by staying centered, by staying in your golden self. Okay, the golden pause. That's tool number 1. Next. While you are being silent, and I practiced this firsthand in one of the most difficult conversations that I ever had to have. I decided up front, I knew this conversation was having, I knew it was going to be hard. And I, at that point, decided I was going to stay silent until that other person said the very first thing. And in that moment, it took 18 minutes. I'm telling you, sisters, 18 minutes of not saying anything and just sitting, looking at someone is a very long time. You might not have to do 18 minutes, but it was still the best thing that I could do. While you're being silent, you're going to have all these things going on in your head. You're going to spend, because that's just human, quite some time already preparing your defense, thinking of what you're going to say to defend, deny, deflect. That's a programming. You don't have to do that. You could instead just listen. And because I know how hard that is and how hard that sometimes can be, I want to give you a mantra. And the very simple mantra inside of your head could be, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know why? Because even when you're just saying it in your head and you're not feeling it yet, just by repeating the words, thank you, your brain thinks that you're grateful. And when your brain thinks that you're grateful, it's going to send that down to your heart. And when you feel grateful in your heart, you are going into the state of coherence. And if you know Joe Dispenza's work and all the research, you know that the state of coherence is one of the most desirable states to be in because all of your brains are synchronized. They're working together. So just remember, thank you. You don't say anything, and then you say thank you inside again and again and again. If you then choose to say something, okay, I recommend saying something like either I hear you, or I see you, or I feel you. Now, how do you differentiate? When are you going to say what? Well, do what feels intuitively right is my first advice. When you get good at this, you will start listening to other people so well that you'll notice that a person who, for instance, is very auditive will be talking a lot about what they hear. And then you will mirror that back to them. So if they're saying something where they're talking a lot about sounds, they're auditive people, you can say, I hear you, and they will feel understood. If you're talking to a very visual person, it's good to say, I see you, because that's what they need in that moment. That's their love language. And if you're talking to a kinesthetic person, and most people are kinesthetic because everyone loves being touched, you say, I feel you. Okay, next. If you then feel that you want to say anything else, the question I would invite you to ask yourself inside is what I'm going to say, is it true? Is it really true? Is it kind? Is this a kind thing to say? Or my mom used to say, is it helpful? And then is it necessary? Is it really necessary for me to say something now? Very often it's not. But ask yourself that question. And then when you want to deliver that feedback, this is tool number 2, use this compassion sandwich. It just delivers the message better, and it has the other person be able to even hear you without having all their defenses go up. Because we're all animals inside and little kids inside, you know? So in whatever you're going to say, start out with something nice. Start out with, I like your socks. I like that you're making time for me right now. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for making time for this conversation. I like your hair. Say something that's true, but say something nice. Then deliver the constructive feedback. And I could talk a whole hour about how we can do that. We don't have time for that now. Just constructive feedback means give them information that they can do something with. So rather than saying you're always late and you always stack the dishwasher wrong, and I don't know, you're a lazy ass, tell them in a way and say, you know, you'd make me really happy if you put your dishes in the dishwasher, not in the sink. Um, or you say, I really value punctuality. So when we have a date, I really appreciate you showing up on time because it has me feel really loved. There are many different ways how you can give feedback where the other person knows what your preference is. So rather about talking about what they're doing wrong, say what you would like them to do. That's also where, there's such a big difference between boundaries and being a dictator, being, so overpoweringly saying, yeah, but these are my boundaries. No, you're giving out rules. Boundaries are things that you do for yourself to take care of yourself. And that's also something that we're going to go into. So when you're delivering constructive feedback, tell them what you would like them to do instead. And that's where we go into that encouragement, where you say, no, what, let's practice this together. Or would it be an idea that I tell you every time that I notice this? Or, I also always love with you that you're willing to always grow and learn with me. So start with something good and end with something good. It's rather like a lovely dinner. We usually remember, this is what science says, we remember the what's it called, the first dish, the Vorspeise, the Amüsgöl, the first thing we eat, the starter, that's usually what we remember, and the dessert, because that's the first place where we have that impact and the last bit. We usually remember when we go to sleep and when we wake up, and not so much in between. So make sure that that sandwich in between is very clear. And that's really great to work and play with in a group, because we can go into breakout rooms. We can really practice this stuff together so that we get better in all of our relationships. So now going back to that map of consciousness, if we're in, say, we're done with the orange part, we're done with being angry, we know that doesn't get anywhere. We are conscious women. We know that pride is not going to get us anywhere either. What I've noticed, what is missing most is courage. And if there's one thing that I can say I am to 100% is courageous. And that doesn't mean that I'm always brave. Courageous means that you're coming from your heart. It comes from the French word cœur, right? You have the courage to do the right thing. And that comes a lot with self-love. So I'd love to do this together with you. I'm basically asking you to be my friend, because I know another thing. There's a vibration that vibes higher than love. Just recently read the research. And guess what that is? Higher than love. Authenticity. When we speak from our hearts, when we're true to who we are in our core, that is such a high vibration. That's what I think we're all desiring right now, with all the fake stuff going on with AI, making it hard to often know, is this even real? I think this realness amongst sisters, that courage to be authentic with each other, that's where the support comes in, is such a leverage to level up. And goes back to research. That's why I've chosen that little goldfish, right? Would you, if you had a goldfish in a bowl like that, and you notice that little goldfish is sick, would you now really? Would you give that goldfish, I don't know, some injections, some pills to get better? Or would you maybe consider changing the water in the tank, making the environment for that little fish a little nicer? Would you maybe get a couple of buddies in? Would you put some plants in that tank? Research shows that that is actually what we're missing right now. And I believe that together, when we're being authentic, when we're being real, when we're in a safe place, when we're diving into this exciting topic of relationships, we're all going to thrive together. We have so much knowledge and wisdom in our sisterhood. I have so much to share that I look forward to sharing with you. And also, all the stuff we do together is so exciting. So we're going to go through all these 12 petals of sacred relationship together. And every month, we're going to meet twice online, always at the same time, same day. It's always Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Central European time. We always record. Sometimes we go a little longer if there's a lot to be said, but it's always an hour. And we always send out the recordings, and you always have access to those. In the first part, we do a wisdom activation. So we learn all the bits. We sometimes have special guests. We really dive deep into the topic. The second time, we do an integration circle. That's more coaching. We'll have hot seats. We do a ritual. We do hypnosis. Every single month, you'll be getting a brand new live crafted just for us hypnosis, because I'm a hypnosis expert. I love teaching meditation. I love recording awesome brain trainings. And I love doing this for us because guess what? All these things I'm using for myself too. So we're literally growing together. So that's the integration circle. And you get to keep all that, of course. You'll get this sisterhood, this community. We have a WhatsApp group. You don't have to be part of it, but it's super fun. We keep supporting each other. We can answer quick questions. You always have access to me. You can send me an email with any question that you have. I prefer you asking it in the circle, and you'll learn how to love that because you have a hive mind, a hive heart at your service. You have lifetime access to all of that. And I am planning a live event in 2026. It will be in Austria, most likely. And if you're a member of the Golden Goddess Circle, you, of course, get first pick and special pricing. Now, how much is all of that worth? I honestly believe thousands, but I know that we are going through difficult times right now, and a lot of people are struggling financially. So I have made this as affordable as possible. We're going to be gathering for a year. We're going to be meeting 22 times. You're going to have all that ongoing support and sisterhood, and you're getting all of that for 499 euros, including tax. If you're struggling, if you're really struggling, yes, you can pay it in two bits of 269. Yes, nice. So now I am inviting you to join us. There's a link, joinmartina.com, Golden Goddess Circle English. I'm not doing a German circle this year. I believe it's time that we unite. I've been doing these Golden Goddess circles now for 5 years. I founded them in COVID because I felt lonely. And I decided, okay, it's time to stop complaining, do something. Sorry, I'll leave the link there for you. And then I decided, okay, I am just going to start gathering. I'm going to start gathering online. My friends are all over the world, some in America, some in Europe. I'm just going to do this online. And I started gathering at Mondays at 9 a.m. because I was like, if anybody has time, Mondays, 9 a.m. Okay. And we became thousands of women, thousands of women. And then we decided, okay, we want to keep it sacred. We want to keep it that not anybody from anywhere can tune in anytime. We want to know each other. We want to dive deeper. We want to be intimate with each other in that way, that we want to see into each other, get to know each other. And the feedback, I mean, I could go on and on about it, but it really, yeah, made me have tears in my eyes getting all these beautiful WhatsApps from the existing members, whether it's Svenja sharing a moment. We share these moments of inspiration with us when we get messages from the universe saying, look at this sign. The ship says, Martina, my name's Martina, right? Thousands of thanks for your help. It's all been done. It's all good. We really support each other through little crises, big crisis, doesn't matter. Or Sandra saying, joining the Golden Goddess Circle last year was truly one of the best choices I've made. Or Ruth saying, everything, she just watched the recordings because she had other things to do. But even the recordings helped me so much with all my challenges. And I was able to regain my focus and trust. Or as Kia saying, to being able to connect with women that are like-minded and embrace awakening of their true self. That's special. And she's had an incredible shift. Sachiko, it's real. And I would love you to be part of my sisterhood, to come and to meet with me and to grow with me. So if you're in, then now is the time. We're going to be sending out, of course, the recording where you'll get the link again. Go ahead, click it on, come in. We're starting in October. You can also go to the website and see all the dates. You can already block them out in your calendar. I recommend doing that. I do it too, of course, because that way every circle becomes a date with yourself. It's a date, a time to spend time investing into your own vessel. You know, we have moms with little kids joining. Sometimes we'll have the babies in the background. You can have us running like a little podcast in the back. You can be lying in your bed. I don't mind. You can have no makeup on. You can come as a unicorn. Anything works. So I'd love to hand over the mic to any of you if you have any questions. Is there anything you'd like to ask me? I've got lots of messages, Ben. Let's put my glasses on. There we go. Not seeing any questions. Somebody's muted their mic. Maybe it's time to bring Andrea in. Would that be okay with you? I'd love to add. There we go. Hi, Andrea. Andrea is one of my sisters who actually also lives in Salzburg, Austria. And we have been friends for many decades. And she also happens to be an incredible feng shui mistress and astrology expert. And she's been co-hosting the German Golden Goddess Circle with me now last year, right? Is there anything you'd like to add to everything that I've said?
Yes, ich würde es lieber in Deutsch sagen, es ist authentischer für mich. Du kannst mich übersetzen.
Okay, so she's going to get real close to the mic and she's going to speak German and I'm going to translate.
Yes. Wir stecken ja in einer unglaublichen transformativen Zeit und das nächste Jahr wird sehr tief gehen. Ja, und ich werde
We are currently in a very transformative time and this upcoming next year is going to go real deep.
Yes. Und wir werden in dieser Zeit, ich werde euch auch begleiten mit astrologischen Hinweisen, welche Monate besonders intensiv werden, wo wir besser jetzt neue Sachen beginnen oder besser nicht, wo wir auf unsere Emotionen mehr achten müssen.
And in these times, I'm going to be accompanying you with astrological tips to give you tips of when to do what, how to, deal with your emotions, when are the rough times going to be. I'm going to give you my best predictions.
Yes. Und wir werden ja auch einen Circle machen, der ganz speziell für euer Zuhause ist, wo wir
And we're going to be doing one circle that's just about your home, and that's the one you're going to be leading, right?
Yes. Und in diesem werden wir wirklich mit Feng Shui euch auf die Füße stellen, dass ihr selbst alleine, ohne dass ihr mich braucht, euer Leben wirklich in Schwung bringen könnt. Ja,
And
so
we're going to learn
kick
how
off.
I'm sorry, but otherwise I can't remember so long. And that in this session that I'm going to be leading, I'm going to be teaching you how you can learn to, do these things in your own home, even without my guidance.
Yes.
So you can really bring some energy and some schwung, some movement into your life.
You like just start new, start something new. Feel the energy immediately in the next weeks. You do the things I will tell you.
Thank you. Yes. And as you notice, we do Dinglish too.
Yes.
So if part of you is thinking, oh, but I don't speak English, I'm not so good and stuff, who cares? We have goddesses from Italy, from Holland, from all over the place. And every one of them at the beginning, sometimes I'm not sure, I wasn't sure that my English would be good enough. But you know what happens? Your English actually gets better. Because you see, just if you were to just take the brain trainings, the meditations that you'll be getting every month, and you were to just sleep with them, you would improve your English. So see it as a win-win. You get to practice your English, improve your English. And with AI, that's where I love AI. AI, I love you, because you can get automatic transcriptions in your language, right? So there are many different ways that you can work around that perceived language barrier. It's not true. And then I'm going to say the spiritual thing, from heart to heart, im Herzen verstehen wir uns immer. We can feel each other. even if it's online, I believe you can feel that now. I mean, you could put it in your chat. You could put in the chat, hand up, if you feel that this energy is inspiring, if you or pleasant, put it there. It doesn't have to be inspiring quite yet. Maybe you're not in that mood now, but do you feel good? Because you see, often people ask me, Jai, but how do I know what my intuition is telling me? And I say, well, notice how you feel. How do you feel when you're getting this information? Does it have you feel hopeful, inspired? Does it have you feel good? Well, then it's your intuition. Does it have you feel a little anxious and judgy? No. Well, that's not your intuition. Your intuition is always going to be loving. It'll be honest. It'll say, and might not give you a reason why but you'll know that the is right. And that's what intuition is, isn't it? It's knowing what's right for you without knowing why you know it's right, but you know. Okay, let's see. Are there any questions in the chat? So Chico is saying, yes, I love the international vibe, auch auf Deutsch. Yeah, you might even improve your German, that's true. Do you have any other questions, girls, ladies, princesses, queens, bees? I'm going to have a sip of wine. Ha! Thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's now 8 o'clock, and I said everything that I wanted to say and that I believe was necessary. And I thank you for holding space. Thank you, Andrea.
Gerne.
For coming in, and I look forward to seeing you in the circle. If you're watching this as a recording, you're going to see the link to join down below, somewhere here. Yes. And we look forward to you. And wherever you are right now, know you're loved and you are worthy to live your very, very best life now. And us sisters here would love to do that together with you, because together we can allow our divine light to shine even brighter. Bye bye.
Thank